Hello and welcome to reading number 1 in Rune Johansson's Pali Buddhist texts. I will call up the text for you. What I'll do, I'll go through, rather than read through the entire thing, I'll go through it sentence by sentence. And then at the end of this video, I'll read the whole thing through unbroken. Apinu tumhe bhikkhave evam jananta evam passanta evam vedayata sattanu garu sattugaravena cha mayam vedemati no hetam bhante. So apinu is just a sentence, a question marker. You begin the sentence with these words indicating that it's a question. But it's not just an ordinary question. It's almost inviting reflection. Would it be the case? Could it happen that? These various ways of introducing a question in English, not just a straight question. Would it be right to say that? Might it be the case that? And then the proposition follows. Apinu is used in the same way here. And nu is just an extra inserted word. If it were just with api alone, it would be coming at the beginning of the sentence. It would mark a question. By the way, it can also mean even, but even you think so? That form of even, api can also be. So, apinu tumhe, you, O monks, tumhe bhikkhave. Would it be the case, monks? Would it be the case that you, monks, evam jananta, thus knowing, evam passanta, thus seeing here also in the sense of knowing, evam, thus, here has the sense of thus in the sense of what we've previously been discussing. So there was an earlier discussion in this part of the Majjhima. And then the Buddha is saying, monks, knowing all of this, evam jananta, thus knowing, in other words, knowing everything we've just discussed, passanta, seeing or understanding, evam, thus, in other words, what has just been discussed. So, evam jananta, evam passanta, evam vedayata, there's another question. Evam vedayata, might you say thus? So he's saying, monks, with the knowledge, knowing what you do, understanding what you do, would you now say as follows? The evam here, in evam vedayata, refers to what follows. So, evam jananta, evam passanta, thus knowing, thus seeing, refers the evam, the thus refers to what's been said earlier. Evam vedayata, might you say thus, refers to what follows. Sattano garu, sattu garavena chamayam vedemati. In other words, would you, with the knowledge you now have, say as follows, our teacher is a venerable man. Because of the venerable nature of the teaching, we so speak. No hetam bhante. You're seeing the same word no used in fact, two entirely different words in line 2, sattano garu and no hetam bhante. In the first, let me go through to my iPad. Here we are. So, sattano garu. Satta is a teacher. Sattano garu. This no here is an enclitic, meaning our. In the full form, it would be amhakam. If you want to put it and say at the beginning of a sentence, you'd say amhakam satta, our teacher. but you can tack it onto the end of a word in an abbreviated form, and then it becomes no. This no, by the way, it would be na in Sanskrit, and it is cognate with the Latin nos, and in Italian noi, in French nous, and so I'm writing that in Russian. It's pronounced nas, that is nas, meaning us. So it's all etymologically all that same word. So satano, read it as one word there. Satano, read it as a combined group of words. Satano Garu, our teacher is venerable. Garu. In the earlier form of the language, in Vedic, Garu, and in Pali, almost always Garu. In later Sanskrit, classical Sanskrit, the vowel changed so as to become guru, the word we all know, a guru. The actual original meaning of this word, garu, means heavy in the sense of weighty, full of dignity, to be venerated. It is cognate with the Latin word gravis, meaning heavy, but also heavy in the metaphorical sense, not a bad sense, but heavy in the sense of worthy of respect, not some kind of lightweight, like a heavyweight. We use the word gravis, heavy. Gravity is another one, to speak with gravity. And we talk in English about a person having gravitas, which is just the Latin form of what we say in English, gravity. So if a person has gravitas, he's dignified, responsible, to be respected. Well, this kind of meaning goes with it, and that's the meaning that goes with garu, and in later Sanskrit, guru. So your guru, it just means your revered person, your person of gravitas, the person that you treat with respect because of his gravitas. Satano Garu, our teacher Satano, is a man worthy of respect, a man of gravitas. Satu Garavena Chamayam Videmati. Now, there are numerous derivatives, adjectives from nouns, and abstract nouns from adjectives that are formed by the vriddhi, the strengthening of the first consonant, the first syllable rather. So vriddhi happens to the vowel. So in Sanskrit it becomes garu, becomes gaurava, making an abstract noun, like just as in Latin gravis, heavy, gravitas, make an abstract noun by the changing the ending to itas. Opposite to levis, light, levitas, lightness. You talk about somebody being a person of levity, in other words, the opposite of gravity. Levity, it's gravitas rather. But you do that in several different ways in Sanskrit and Pali. One of the most common of which is by changing the u actually from, so gaurava comes from guru. And in Pali from garu, so guru gives you gaurava in Sanskrit, and garu gives you garava. Garu to garava. I won't ask you to learn all the rules about it now, but just you'll often see this happening, that you get a derivative word formed with the vriddhi of the first vowel. A very common one is, for example, is if you word ikka, dharma, looking at Sanskrit now, not Pali, roughly the same rules apply. Dharma we know. And if you can make it into an adjective by adding ika, which in exactly the same, I'll write it in Roman script, exactly the same happens in Greek, ikos, which in English we retain as an ik, economic, dharmic, yogic. This ik ending that we have in modern English, which derives from Greek, is exactly the same as the Greek ikos. It's exactly the same as the Sanskrit ika. But in Sanskrit and Pali, you don't just add ika to the word unchanged. You vriddhi, that is, you strengthen the first vowel. That is why the word for dharmic is dharma with a short a, but dharmika, dharmic, to do with the dharma. Another example of an adjective from a noun by vriddhi is we get Buddha. Now, a Buddhist, just vriddhi, that first vowel, to au, becomes Buddha. So Buddha, Buddhist. In Sanskrit, Buddha, Buddha. By the way, in Pali doesn't have the au there, so that always becomes an o. However, the Pali word used here, garu, that makes the vriddhi with a, so garu is the adjective, garava is the corresponding abstract noun. So sattugarava, your teacher gravity, the respectableness, the gravitas of your teacher, the way you venerate your teacher, sattugarava. Now it's in here, in this text, it's gone into the instrumental, sattugaravena. The instrumental here has the force of because of, or by reason of. Just as in English we could say by, I speak so by his venerability, meaning because of, or by reason of. So, sattugaravena chamayam vedemahi. Vedema, we speak. Mayam vedema, you can optionally add the pronoun. It's not strictly necessary because vedema can only mean we speak. Mayam vedema. So, sattugaravena cha. Here it means but rather. We do not say so because we believe the teacher. But sattugaravena chamayam vedemati. In other words, we would not say that we're speaking so because we respect the teacher. No hetam bhante. We had the no in the second line of this text, meaning our. But this no in the second line it's na, meaning not. It's na, is just one of these particles that can get thrown in. It doesn't have any meaning on its own. It's a bit of seasoning, as it were. So na'u, not so, indeed not, na'u. And by sandhi, na'u becomes no. Purely coincidental that it looks like the no, meaning our. So no hetam bhante, this no he, na'u he, not indeed so, bhante. Not indeed this. In other words, this would not happen. No hetam bhante, not indeed this bhante. Next line. Apinu tumhe bhikkhave evam jananta evam pasanta evam vedayata samano no evamaha samanacha nachamayam evam vedemati. By the way, the T at the end just is quote. Would you say such and such, unquote? In Sanskrit and Pali, you put in this T, just means close quote. It's not part of what you are saying or saying that you wouldn't say. And remember, whenever you get a word ending in a short vowel, followed by the T, the close quote T, that short vowel is always lengthened. So, vedema is, we say, put the T on the end and it becomes vedemati. Sometimes in text in the Roman script, you see an apostrophe put there before the T just to demonstrate that it's not really part of the preceding word. It's a close quote. It's not put there in the Devanagari script, and you'll see that Johansson hasn't put it here either. It's just a matter of editorial style. It's nothing more significant than that, whether you put an apostrophe there. Nuhetam bhante. So apinutum he bhikkhave evam jananta evam pasanta evam vedayata. Vedayata, by the way, vedeta would be you say. Vedayata is the optative form, but it's used for a kind of a hypothetical. Might you say? Would you say? And the optative form is given in the grammar at page 137. If you look at the top there, in the second person, plural labheta or labheyata, both forms are equally used. There's no distinction of meaning. So that sentence so samano, some recluse, samana, some recluse, samano no evamaha. A recluse, no, it means to us here. A recluse to us thus said, samano no evamaha. There was some recluse that we heard saying this, samano no samanacha. The cha here has some, cha normally means and. Here it has the meaning of or. A recluse or more than one recluse. That's why it's put in the singular, one, and then samanacha, literally a recluse and recluses, meaning either one or more recluses. Samano, samanacha, literally a recluse and recluses, meaning one or more recluses. Samano no evam aha, said, thus said, evam aha. So some recluse said this to us, or more than one recluse, samanacha, nachamayam evam vedemati, but we would not say thus. The significance of this is we are not saying what we say because we respect our teacher. However much we respect him, we don't automatically accept what he says, which is what the Buddha said. Don't take it from me, test it for yourselves. That's in the first sentence. The first sentence is the same the other way around. And because we've heard it from somebody else, it doesn't mean we reject it either. So the mere fact that the Buddha has said it doesn't mean we accept it. And the mere fact that somebody else has said it doesn't mean that we reject it. So in both ways, you accept things on their merit, irrespective of who said them. That's what it's getting at here. So would you, look at the apinutum he, the second one, apinutum he bhikkhave evam jananta, would you, O monks, might it be the case that evam jananta, thus knowing, evam pasanta, thus seeing, evam vedayata, you might say thus, samanono evamaha samanacha, some recluse said this to us, or more than one recluse, samanacha, nachamayam evam vedemati, we do not speak so. In other words, we don't reject it simply because it wasn't the Buddha saying it. And again, no hetam bhante. Not indeed. Na'u hi etam, no hetam bhante. Next sentence. Apinutum he bhikkhave evam jananta, evam passanta, anyan sattaram uddisayatati. Apinutum he bhikkhave evam jananta evam passanta anyam sattaram uddisayatati. And without the T it would be uddisayata. Dis meaning to see, Uddis, literally to see up, means to look out for, or can also mean to appoint somebody, but to start looking for. Would you, knowing what you know, seeing what you see, evam pasanta, thus seeing, thus understanding, uddisayata, would you look for anyam sataram, another teacher? No hetam bhante, not indeed bhante. I'm just going to call up the text because there is an error in the text. So you see where my cursor is there? It's written as sataram with a short a. That is a printing error. Let me get back to my iPad. It's sataram. Do it for you properly. So nominative sata, accusative sataram. This is from the suffix tar, which is the same as the Latin tor, lector, preceptor, mentor. We have these words in English. A lot of words ending in a tor, meaning a person who does something. It's in Sanskrit, the root, the stem is tar, and in the nominative, the tar is just a ta, and in the accusative, it becomes taram. By the way, this root sataram, the word sataram, rather, the Sanskrit root is shas, meaning to teach. And they're the Hindu texts, which in English we sometimes call the Shastras. That is the Shastrani, plural of Shastra. That's the ending tra, meaning a tool or a device for doing something, like mantra, tantra, shastra. But with the suffix ta, in Sanskrit it's shasta, accusative shastaram, and in Pali that shasta becomes satta, sattaram. And in one of the routine chants, I forget in my head where it's from now, Buddha Nandana, praise to the Buddha, we get satta deva manusanam, the satta of the teacher of gods and men, satta deva manusanam. So apinutum he bhikkhave, might it be the case, O monks, evam jananta evam passanta, thus knowing, thus seeing, anyam sattaram uddisayatati, would you go off looking for an anyam sattaram, another teacher? No hetam bhante, not indeed, sir. Next sentence. Apinutum he bhikkhave evam jananta evam passanta yani tani puttu samana brahmananam vatako tuhala mangalani tani sarato pachagachayatati. Bit of a mouthful. I'll read it once more slowly. Apinutum he bhikkhave evam jananta evam passanta yani tani tu samana brahmananam vata kotuhala mangalani tani sarato pachagachayatati. Let's unpack this sentence. Apinu tumhe bhikkhave, as before, would it be the case that tumhe bhikkhave, you, O monks, evam jananta evam passanta? And now get to the verb. Would you pachagachayatati? Let's just examine this word. It means to rely on, go to, go back to, fall back on, use it as what you rely on. And I'll give it to you in Sanskrit first because that will clarify everything much better. We've got the root gum, meaning to go. And as we all know, agam means to come, and that makes agachati. It has two prefixes. It has prati agam. So prati, first prefix prati, second prefix a, root gum, pratyagam. So pratyagam. Prati means against, not against in the hostile sense, but against in the counterbalance, counterweight, as in you're leaning against something, like vis-a-vis, with regard to, against, a counterforce, a counterbalance. So pratyagam is to come to something, and pratyagam means you come back to it. It's your point of recourse. Pratyagam. Now, pratya in Sanskrit becomes pratya by Santi, pratyagam. And in Sanskrit, that pratya becomes pacha, pachagam. So pratyagam, pachagam. I come back to, how does Johansson translate? Fall back on, return to, yeah. I fall back on, or I revert to, is in Sanskrit pratyagachami, gachami, agachami, pratyagachami. In Pali, gachami, agachami, same in Sanskrit and Pali, that gachami, agachami, but with prati, or pati in Pali, that becomes pachagachami, pachagachami. And in the second plural optative, it's pachagachayata, pachagachami, pachagachayata. Might you fall back on, might you have recourse to. So might you have recourse to what? Putu samana brahmananam vatakutu halamangalani tani sarato pachagachayatati. Sarato, sara, from the root sri, meaning just to proceed or to go. Sara means, the most common meaning of it is the essence or something of something. A primitive meaning of it is something like the sap, as in the sap of the wood is the essence of the tree that makes it grow, that gives it life. It's the life-giving sap. And by extension, it's come to mean the essence, the true heart of something. Put this with the adverbial, ablative adverbial ending to. In Sanskrit, by the way, would be sarata, meaning as the essence. So in other words, would you have recourse to that? Would you go back to that as the essence, as being the essence? So this ending to very often means in the form of, as, under the guise of, just as. For example, in the Majjhima Nikaya 10th Sutta, the Satipatthana Sutta, you contemplate the body as body. So kayam kayato, pachanupassati. So you contemplate kayam kayato, the body, accusative kayam kayato, as body, and so on. So and you contemplate earth as earth, pitivim pitivito, and so on. This to, the body as body. So would you go back to this thing? Would you go back to these rites and rituals as if they were the essence? Would you consider them, knowing what you now know, would you rely on these things as being the very essence, the true essence of the teaching? So, which things, yani tani putu samana bahmananam vatakutu halamangalani tani. So, yani tani has the meaning of here of various kinds of things. Yani, which those, all sorts of. It's just an idiomatic way of saying all of those various things. So yani tani mangalani, vata kutuhala mangalani. Vata is a word meaning, in fact, it's from the Sanskrit vrata. Vrata is an oath or a vow, and it's used among the Brahmins. It's used in the same kind of way as in the Catholic Church, of a priest who, just at his ordination, he takes his vows and he solemnly dedicates himself to the life of the priesthood. That is, the vows. The vrata is that idea. You take your vow that you will live that particular kind of life. And it was very important among the Brahmins, but the Buddha was saying, don't rely on the mere fact that you've taken vows. So it's put here, translated here as a rite or an observance. It had more the meaning of a vow. Kutuhala is a festival. Actually, it's the idea of a bit of a tumult, a bit of a noisy festival, carnival festival. So the vows, the festivals, the mangala means like a blessing. Jaya mangalam bhavatu, may the blessing of victory. Blessing not as in the name of the Father and so on, but blessing means a good auspicious thing that happens to you. It's a name in use among modern Hindus. In modern Hindi, that the final Mangal is a name that you'll find as a personal name. So yani tani meaning all of these different kinds of vata kutuhala mangalani, these vows or ritual observances, festivals, blessings, or omens, well-augured things that are meant to give you an auspicious occasion, like giving a blessing, the mangal. So these things, of whom? Of the putu samana brahmananam. The putu it's from the Sanskrit pritak. And the basic original meaning of it is separately. So if you do several things separately, in Sanskrit, pritak, meaning repeated, meaning each various things you do separately and individually. Pritagjana, literally the separate people, the people away from us, the people who are not part of our inner circle, the broad masses. And you see this often in Pali, the phrase putujjano, pritagjana in Sanskrit, the H there, putu, and with a double J, isn't it? Putujjano, literally the separate person, the separate people. Rather in the same way that the Jews regarded themselves as the chosen race, and the separate people were the Gentiles. In other words, they were outside the magic circle. So equally, putujjano, the separate people, the common people, who do not belong with this inner teaching. So this putu samana brahmananam, here this word putu is being applied to samana and brahmana, to recluses, to the ordinary, the might say common recluses and Brahmins. So, would you pachagachayata, would you resort to or adopt? Yani tani, all the various, vatakutuhla mangalani tani, those vows / observances, ceremonies, blessings, now genitive plural of the anam, putu samana brahmananam, of the common recluses, like the ordinary recluses and Brahmins. So would you, pachagachayata, would you adopt or have recourse to all that? Sarato, as if it were the essence, as if that were the real truth of the matter. No hetam bhante, not indeed bhante. Next sentence. Nanu bhikkhave yadeva tumhakam samam nyatam samam dittam samam viditam tadeva tumhe videtati evam bhante. So, nanu is a question indicator, and it indicates that you're expecting the answer yes. Wouldn't you say so? In English we put it as a negative question, but encouraging the answer. Wouldn't you say so? Of course I would say so. Nanu. It's directly cognate actually with the Latin nonne, which again it literally non-ne, non-not, and ne makes the question. Would it not be so? Non-ne, is it not the case that? So that has exactly the same effect here. And incidentally, non-ne is the opposite in Latin of num. If you ask a question beginning with num, you're expecting a no. Surely you wouldn't think that, would you? Num. So apinu is a bit the same as the Latin num, and the nanu is the same as the Latin nonne. Wouldn't, don't you think so? So nanu bhikkhave yadeva tumhakam samam nyatam samam muttam samam viditam tadeva tumhe videtati. So yad eva, yad correlating with tad, so yad, whatever that, whatever you know for yourselves, that say. In English we say what you have discovered for yourselves. In Latin, yad, you have discovered for yourselves, tad, say. You see in this text we have yad eva. Now that eva has the sense here of only that. So say only what you have known and seen for yourselves. So yadeva, only what you have seen for yourselves, tadeva vedeta. That only, you might say, you should say. The tumhakam here, it's the dative, genitive and dative of tumhe, you. So tumhakam to you, samam nyatam, to you by yourselves known. This samam is an indeclinable. It's the same for singular, plural, through all genders and numbers, meaning yourselves, by yourselves. So if something is samam nyatam, literally self-known, in other words, something you know about for yourselves, you've relied on yourselves, it's self-known. Samam dittam, self-seen, in other words, something you have seen for yourselves. So, tumhakam, for you. So yadeva, whatever, tumhakam, to you, is samamnyatam, self-known, in other words, known for yourselves, samandittam, seen for yourselves, samam viditam, perceived for yourselves, tadeva, that only, tumhe vedetahati. That's now a question, nanu vedetahati, meaning I hope that you would say only what you have seen for yourselves, seen and known and perceived for yourselves. Tadeva tumhe vedetahati, that only may you say. Would you say, wouldn't you? Nanu, wouldn't you? Evam bhante, yes indeed bhante. Notice this verb vedeta, with the usual lengthening of the a before t, vedeta, vedetati. You can equally say vedayata or vedeta. There's no distinction of meaning. If you look through to the grammar, near the top of page 137 in the printed book, you'll see for plural, second plural, labheta or labheyata. Yeah, vedeta, vedayata. There is no distinction at all of meaning. They are exactly the same. So, now the Buddha says, sadhu bhikkhave, well done. Sadhu, well done, well said, that's right, and so on. Sadhu. And technically, it's from the root sid. It has the alternative form sad. The idea sid. The root meaning of sid is to hit the spot, hit your target, have it right on. So sadhu is like saying spot on. That's right, you've got it. Sadhu. Sadhu bhikkhave, well done. You've got that right. Well said, O monks. Upanitako kome tumhe bhikkhave imina sandittikena dhammena akalikena ehipasikena opanayikena pachattam veditabbena vinyuhi. Well done, O monks. Upanitako me tumhe. Upanita. Put it in the singular form. Upanita. The root is ni, meaning to lead. Now, you will see translations of this. I think, and upanayakena, by the way, is the an adjective. Upanita, literally to lead. Upani, to lead up, literally. So you have been led up or brought up. How does Johansson translate it here? Upanita, brought up. Yeah. I'll come back to this in a moment. Upanita, provisionally, let's take it as brought up or educated. Upanita kome. Me is the enclitic form, that's the shortened form of maya, instrumental. Upanita kome tumhe. You have been brought up, taught, educated by me. It would have been equally correct to say maya. You could also have put maya at the beginning of the sentence. Maya upanitako bhikkhave. Maya upanita, by me brought up. You couldn't say me upanita because the me is a shortened form that can only be tacked onto the end of another word. There's a maya upanita or upanita me. Brought up by me, tumhe bhikkhava, you O monks. Imina, some ayam meaning this. Imina is the instrumental. Imina dhammena, you have been instructed by me, educated by me. Imina sandittikena dhammena, by this immediately visible dhammena, by this immediately visible. Sanditya is just given as visible here. And the Buddha here is making a contrast between esoteric Brahmanical teachings and the teachings that he is giving, which is saying, look, this is the parable of the open hand. I'm not holding anything back. Of course, there's another story which are more the leaves in my hand or the leaves in the forest. But the idea here, I'm talking about the Sanditpiko Dhammo, is the visible Dhamma. I'm telling you it straight. No, nothing hidden here. This is the visible teaching. Akalikena, kala, time. Akalika, the kala time. Kalika, temporal, relating to time. Akalika, literally timeless, and sometimes translated as timeless. What does Johansson? He said immediate or timeless. If he just said the timeless doctrine, I don't know whether that would mean very much, but my preferred interpretation, I think, shared by scholars, is that it means here immediate. In other words, you don't have to wait. No, I'm telling you this now, and 10 years down the line, you'll understand it or get the advantage of it, or 20 years, or after you're dead, you'll get the advantage of it. It's akalika. You don't have to wait any length of time. Put this teaching into practice right now, and the benefits are immediate. This is my preferred interpretation of akalika. Sanditpika, sanditi, vision, what you're seeing right in front of you. Akalika, you don't have to wait for the results. You can, of course, the longer you practice, the better the results, but you see the results immediately, even though they grow as you go along. Ehipasikena. Ehi is just an imperative meaning come. Passa, see. Make an adjective out of that. Ehipassika, the come and see Dhamma. In other words, I'm not hiding it from you, I'm inviting you to ehipassa, come see, ehipassika Dhamma. Upanayakena. This is another adjective describing the Dhamma. I said I would come back to it, and I do this now. Now, it's often translated as upanaya, something that leads you somewhere. Conducive. Johansson translated as leading to the goal. And in the translation on page 21, that leads to the goal. Conducive. Well, yes, but there is, I think, more to it than that. It does have that meaning, but it has also, I think, a more subtle meaning. We know that the Buddha was quite revolutionary in some of his teachings, and revolutionary in saying, my teachings are available for everyone. You don't have to be an initiated Brahmin to have these teachings. There, anyone who wants, ehipassa, come and see. Anyone who wants to be taught, I will teach him. He was revolutionary, and he would kind of turn a lot of the Brahmin teachings on their heads. For example, he's on record as saying that you Brahmins, you think that you are pure and initiated because you bathe in such and such a tirtha, such and such a river. You bathe in such and such a holy spot. You do this ritual and that ritual. No, I say to you, the true Brahmin is one who follows the Dhamma. So who's often taking these Brahmanical phrases and applying them, the true meaning I apply to my teaching. Now, upanaya, the leading up, from upanaya, literally means leading up. There is, and you can look up in the Moni Williams dictionary here, there is an old Brahmanical ritual whereby the young trainee was upanita, brought towards him by his guru and invested with the sacred thread. That would be his initiation as a Brahmin. Right now you are initiated into our rites. And that was the upanaya. could be translated literally leading up, because the teacher would bring the pupil towards him and put the sacred thread upon him. That was the Upanaya. And I think probably, and I can't be sure about this, but let's just bear it in our minds, that the Buddha here may have been effectively saying, you, the Brahmins, have your ceremony of the Upanaya. And past participle, the trainee, the chela, is Upanita. He is brought up, in other words, initiated, Upanita, led up, initiated. I'm telling you that the true Upanaya, the true initiation, is by this teaching that I'm giving you. So it has its ordinary literal meaning, you have been brought up, educated, or you are being initiated, and this is the true initiation. And that's the kind of thing that the Buddha often did, taking these Brahmanical concepts and saying, look, you've got it wrong. This is what it really means. That this is the real initiation. Now, I've told you a few pages on my, where are we? That's right. There's some vriddhi, certain words taken vriddhi, dharma, dharmika. Now, Upanaya, in Sanskrit, let's make an adjective out of it. Initiatory, to do with initiation. So Upanaya, initiation. Aupanayika, sorry, short. Aupanayika, to do with initiation. So we've got this ika, instead of the a, we've got the ika, and the first vowel of the word becomes vriddhi. So aupanayika, initiatory. So the meaning of this could be either one that educates, and having an educating force, a teaching force, or, on the hypothesis I've just been discussing, initiatory, this initiatory Dhamma. So imana dhammena opanayikena, by this initiatory Dhamma, this teaching, which is the true initiation. And as I said before, the au and the vriddhi, sorry, hang on, go back to my air server screen. Sorry, I've got a technology problem here. The internet has failed, and that means that I can't get my iPad. I can't get a screen share using my iPad. So we'll just go back to where we were. I was just saying, we're almost there anyway. So Aupanayika, initiatory. So Sadhu Bhikkhave Upanitakume, my hypothesis, you have been initiated, O monks. Upanitakume, by me, Bhikkhave. Imina, by this, Sandithikena, visible Dhammena, Akalikena, the immediate, Ehipasikena, that you were invited to come and see for yourselves, Opanayikena, initiatory, Pachattam Veditabena Vinyuhi. Veditabena, again in the instrumental, because all of these ena, Sakalikena, Ehipasikena, Opanayikena, these are all in the instrumental to agree with Dhammena, by this Dhamma, with these various qualifying adjectives. Pachattam, it is in Sanskrit prati atman, each atman, each self. So pratyatman in Sanskrit, pachattam, means each for yourselves, with regard to yourselves. In other words, you've got to see it for yourself, not through somebody else. Pratyatman, see it in yourself, for yourself, by yourself. Veditabena, from vid, to know. Veditabba means to be known, to be grasped. Vinyuhi. So you've got the root Jna, sorry, I can't give it to you on my iPad. We've got the root Jna, to know. So Vidnya, as in Vijnana, and it's in Pali Vijnana, I mean consciousness. And also then has the meaning, has also an extended meaning. If you're Vinu in Pali, this u ending, as a kind of emphatic adjectival ending. I might have got my screen back now. Sorry, it's not working. So vinuhi, that's the instrumental plural of vinuhi, by the wise. So pachattam veditabbena vinuhi, to be understood, to be known by each one of you individually, pachattam, or pachattam, by the wise individually, to be known by the wise for themselves. And Runa translator Johansson, can be understood individually by the intelligent. Okay. So I will now read this passage back to you. I'll give you the text. There we are. Apinu tumhe bhikkhave evam jananta evam pasanta evam vadayatha sattanu garu sattu garavena chammayam vademati no hetam bhante apinu tumhe bhikkhave evam jananta evam pasanta evam vadayatha samano no evamaha samanacha nachamayamevam vademati no hetam bhante apinu tumhe bhikkhave evam jananta evam pasanta anyam sattharam uddisya yathati no hetam bhante apinu tumhe bhikkhave evam jananta evam pasanta yani tani puttu samana brahmananam vatakotuhala mangalani tani sarato pachakachayathati no hetam bhante nanu bhikkhave yadeva tumhakam samanyatam samandishtam samanviditam tadeva tumhe vadethati evam bhante sadhu bhikkhave upanita khome tumhe bhikkhave imina sanditthikena dhammena akalikena ehi passikena upanayikena pachattam veditabbena vinyuhi. And that's the end of this video. Thank you.